The majority is not necessarily right, in fact rarely ever, yet all throughout history consensus reality has been shaped to fit atrocities that the powers that be wanted to conduct. When contemporary ideas and morality can limit one's intuition about an idea, the invisible energy blocking you from your intuition or personal knowledge, we call the Wall of Swords. A culturally weaponized line of reasoning, regardless of fallacy of reason, or cultural biases, constitutes the Wall of Swords. The Nanjing Massacre is omitted from Japanese textbooks because of the two countries' beliefs regarding what occurred. The Japanese refused to acknowledge their crimes, and if you were a student bringing it up in Japan, you would face the Wall of Swords. 20 people were put to death between February 1692 and May 1693 in Salem, Massachusetts in the United States in brutal and bizarre ways, and the reason was because they were accused of witchcraft. If you were a young girl saying "No, I'm not a witch," you were guilty until proven innocent, and could undergo drowning, stoning, all kinds of cruel and unusual punishment. It was the Wall of Swords of Salem, Massachusetts that prevented simple logic and reason to prevail. A good way to understand the Wall of Swords is by the parable presented in Stephen King's Children of the Corn. A small town is overrun by children who are adepts of a quasi-religious prophet child who orders a mass slaying of adults. The adults could dismiss the children's bizarre religion as crazy, but they are still going to be slaughtered. If you are in a community of say 500 to 600 people and you can easily understand that 9/11 was an inside job, but your town is a country backwater occupied by Bush-supporting Christians, you are trapped between the Wall of Swords. Equally, if you say abortion is nonsensical argument and undeniably killing a child in the womb, you face a stone-faced kangaroo court of colonized minds chastising you for what should be a common-sense rationale, since murder is the willful killing of a human being by definition, and a child in the womb at 4 weeks has a heartbeat, yet is allowed to be legally forcepted in the unborn head and vacuumed out at up to 24 weeks. This is murder by any rational person's logic. During the Guangxi Massacre, provincial Chinese cannibalized their college professors for teaching incongruent ideas against the Marxist revolution. At least 137 people, perhaps hundreds more, were eaten by others, and thousands of people participated in the cannibalism. Each one of those people had mothers, learned to count, had cried tears, etc. Yet the Wall of Swords of the Marxist revolution numbed any morality in the region. When your sociology professor claims that people of color cannot be racist, only white people can be racist, when racism is clearly defined as having, reflecting, or fostering the belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. And said professor clearly acknowledges the arbitrary group white to be a race, it causes so much intellectual waste fallout that people are confused as to whether Asians are white. This professor has created a wall of swords, using a kind of linguistic magic to pervert conflict theory to the narrative of their liking, verdantly subjugating white people, thus making themselves the dominant race in the hierarchy through faulty, biased logic. Though you could argue that the dialectic itself is corrupted by privilege, who is demonstrating what privilege in flexing a theory into a required curriculum to obtain a well-paying job is, inherently, creating a hierarchy through which cultural hegemony is created. Since black men have been president, black women have been vice president, homosexual men have been Secretary of Transportation, homosexual men have been billionaire entrepreneur Trump supporters, Muslim men have been congressmen, et al. It is by any rational time to put to bed the idea that the push towards equality is a noble venture against the prevailing evil of whitewashed hegemony. It's simply not true by any reasonable metric. And if you perceive that as racist, you are committing Wall of Swords.